Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, my name is Andara Venisa, and in this video I will explain to you about educational research. First, let me explain to you what is the educational research. Educational research refers to the systematic collections and analysis of data related to the field of education. Research may involve a variety of methods and various aspects of education, including students' learning, interactions, teaching methods, teacher training, and classroom dynamics. Next is the functions of educational research. There are 4 functions: basic research, applied research, evaluation research, and action research. The first function is basic research. Basic research involves the process of collecting and analyzing information to develop and enhance theory. Basic researchers may not be directly concerned with the social utility of their findings, and it might be years before basic research finds some educational application. These kinds of research doesn't always have an immediate purpose or practical use, but it builds foundations of knowledge that can lead to discoveries and innovations later on. So it's like laying the groundwork for future breakthroughs, even if we don't know exactly what those breakthroughs will be at. And the examples of basic research: exploring the impacts of social media on society. The second functions of educational research is applied research. Applied research takes theories developed by basic research and tests them in real life, applied settings. Supplies data that supports, guides, or revises theories developed by basic researchers, designed to solve current educational problems. This research, like using what we already know to solve problems or make things better in real world, it's like taking the informations we've learned from basic research and putting it to practical use, kind of like using building blocks to create something useful instead of just figuring out how things work. Applied research is about making them work better for us, so it's like taking what we learned and using it to fix problems or improve everyday life. And the examples of applied research is developing language learning apps based on cognitive linguistics research. The third function is evaluation research. Evaluation research is interested in making decisions about the quality, effectiveness, or value of educational programs, product, or practices. The focus is on making decisions about effectiveness and not on the development of new knowledge. There are 2 focus evaluation research. The first one is formative evaluations, consists of monitoring the ongoing progress of a program, product, or practice. And second is summative evaluations, is judging the overall impact of a program, product, or practice. Evaluation research is like checking if something, like a new program or policy, is doing what it's supposed to do. It's like giving a report card to see if it's passing or failing. Researchers look at things like how many people are using the program and if it's helping them like it should. Then, based on these informations, they decide if change need to be made to make it better or if it's working just fine. So it's like giving a thumbs up or thumbs down to see if something is doing its job well. The last functions of educational research is action research. Action research uses scientific research methods to examine local problems or issues. Research done by teachers for teachers. There are many different models, but they generally include the following: identifications of a problem or area of inquiry, development of a plan, acting, implementing the plan, observing, like collecting and analyzing the data, and reflecting, evaluating and revising if necessary. A teachers, researchers studying how their teaching has changed in order to facilitate better discussions in the classroom and how this change impact the students. Through better discussions, students can develop a better understanding of the content being covered in class. It's like teamwork to solve problems. Instead of just talking about solutions, people actively try things out and see what works best. It's like trying different recipes until you find the one everyone likes. So instead of just studying problems, actions research is about getting your hands dirty and finding solutions together. Okay, next is there are two types of educational research. The first one is quantitative research method. Consists of scientific studies that collect data in terms of numbers. There are experimental and non-experimental. And the second types is qualitative research method. Qualitative research method consists of creating understanding and narrators from the social situations that being studied, such as interactive and non-interactive. Okay guys, let me explain more specific about quantitative research method. Let's talk about experimental first. There are true experimental, quasi-experimental, and pre-experimental. And we have non-experimental too. They are descriptive, correlational, survey, causal cooperative, and also single case. We got AB designs, multiple baseline, multiple probe, changing criterion, and multi-element. Let's talk about the true experimental first. True experimental designs like a science experiment where we're detective trying to find out what causes what. We randomly put people or things into different groups. Then we deliberately change some things for one group while keeping everything else the same. This change is like special treatment we're testing. We have another group that doesn't get the special treatment. They our comparisons. Before we do anything, we measure things, then we measure again after This helped us see if the special treatment had any effect by comparing the before and after data from both groups. We can figure it out if the special treatment really made a difference. It's all about finding out what makes things happen by carefully changing one thing at a time and seeing what happened next. And next, I will explain to you the quasi experimental research design. Experimental research design quasi is like true experimental design cousins. It used when true experiments aren't possible or practical. In quasi experiments, researchers still manipulate independent variables and measures their effects on dependent variables, but they cannot always randomly assign participants to groups. Instead, they often use pre-existing groups or natural variations in the environment. While they can control all variables as tightly as in the true experiments, they still try to make fair comparisons between groups. Quasi experiments are valuable when randomization isn't feasible, like in studies about the effects of disasters or social interventions. They over insight into cause and effect, true with a bit more complexity than true experiment. Pre-experimental research design involve investigating the effects of an experimental treatment without the full controls typically seen in true experimental design. It often includes single group designs, such as one-shot case studies or one-group pretest post-test designs, where researchers measures outcomes before and afters and interventions without a controls group for comparisons. Another approach is the static group comparisons, where outcomes from groups exposed to different conditions are compared, but without random assignment, while pre-experimental design can offer initial insight. They are generally weaker in establishing causal relationships due to their limited controls over variables and lack of randomizations, making them suitable for exploratory research or when experimental control is challenging. In non-experimental research methods, our approach used to study phenomena without manipulating variable or imposing interventions on participants. Instead, researchers observe and analyze exciting conditions or behavior to draw conclusions. And they are descriptive, correlations, survey, and causal comparative research. There are four. And descriptive in here means as this method involves observing and describing characteristics of a population or phenomenon without influencing or manipulating it. And next is correlations. Correlation studies examine the relationships between two or more variables without manipulating them. And comparative research. Comparative studies compare two or more groups or conditions to identify similarities and differences. Okay, we move to the qualitative research method, the second types of educational research. They are interactive and non-interactive. In interactive, there are four kinds. The first is ethnography. phenomenological case study, and grounded theory. What is ethnography? In ethnography, researchers immerse themselves in a community, interact with peoples, and observe their behavior to understand their culture. And in phenomenology, researchers have interact conversations with participants to explore their personal experiences and understand how they see the world. In case study, researchers closely examine a specific case or individual using interactive methods like interviews and observations to gather detailed information and insight. And the last is grounded theory. Researchers collect data and analyze it interactively, constantly comparing new findings with existing ideas to develop theories that are grounded in the data. In each approach, interactivity involves engaging with participants or data in ways that leads to deeper understanding and insight. And next is non-interactive. There are two kinds, consist of historical and critical analysis. Historical research. In historical research, scholars study past events, people, or trends without directly interacting with living participants. They rely on primary sources like documents, artifacts, and records to reconstruct and analyze historical events and contexts. The focus is on understanding the past based on exciting evidence rather than on interacting with individuals. And the last is critical analysis. Critical analysis involves examining text, ideas, or cultural phenomena through a critical lens, often without direct interactions with people. Scholars analyze and evaluate such theories or arguments to uncover underlying assumptions, bias, and power dynamics. The emphasis in on questioning, challenging, and interpreting information to gain deeper insights into complex issues or texts. The last presentations, I will show you the quantitative and qualitative approaches to research. Okay, that's all to my presentations today. Thank you for watching this video and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.